Hello and welcome to a very merry festive-tide edition of Rural Concerns. I'm Sunil Patel, city dweller.
I'm Chris Cantrell, countryside exile.
And I'm producer James, cul-de-sac regent.
Chris, hang about. Who's this little lad here?
Look, this little lad here, well, Sunil, as today's a Christmas special, we are joined by a very special guest. This is Bob Cratchit's son, Tiny Tim.
And why isn't he saying anything?
Oh, well, he hasn't spoken a word since his mother died.
That's so sad. What happened?
'Tis a tragic story, to be sure. His mother had a podcast with a couple of friends, but one of the friends refused to promote the podcast when they were on other podcasts, even though they did the least amount of work out of the three. Tiny Tim's mum said it didn't bother her, but it really did, and she died of a broken heart.
All right, thanks for coming, Tim. Just sit there while we mull up some festive banter, yeah?
Donos, you know, the Jewel of Fate. Domos. That's the Jewel of Fate.
Now we've gone into Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah, we saw it was a bit Christmassy, but now we're at Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn.
What's he doing?
I don't know. He's on bed, isn't he? He's on his bed.
Is he going to gossip mode?
He's got like 9 different studio spaces in his house.
He's on his front. I'm expecting to see his little feet waggling in a minute.
He's lying on his front, holding his head up with his hands.
I tell you, we've got a wet patch in the bedroom, and it's still not dried.
I'll tell you who else has got a wet patch in the bedroom.
Yeah? Who?
I just got damp everywhere.
Blackwell. I know what you're saying. I've been a young man in the city. I too have had criminal levels of damp. Not traditionally the vibe of a Christmas special, but here we are. Yeah. What are you? Yeah, like we need to.
I'm on a snowball.
Oh, lovely. I don't drink at home. Nothing.
He doesn't. He said, James, in case you missed it, he doesn't drink at home. But I would say
Hasn't got a kid.
Hasn't got a kid. Get off your high horse. Also, that's definitely. I had a friend. He's not really a friend anymore. We just sort of drifted away. But his dad.
Full name him then. Go on.
No, his dad was basically an alcoholic, but lived by like a very sort of tight set of parameters to his. Basically, I'm not an alcoholic. If you're an alcoholic if you drink before midday.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
I've had grandparents like that.
Like 11:59, 12 full pint sitting.
Setting an alarm.
Yeah. So it's like, and that reminded me of that listening to you talk about how I don't drink at home. And you're like, no, because.
But I get absolutely hammered.
Hammered whenever you want, wherever you want.
In a Nero's. In a Cafe Nero's, it takes a hip flask.
Well, we're saying I drink so much less. We talked about this before. I drink so much less than I used to do as a younger man, but it is creeping up a bit recently. Now we're entering the festive season. Little cocktails is what I'm into now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Less like pints, like volume, like, do you know what I mean? Like drinking 8 pints of liquid. That's insane, isn't it? But just 2 little cocktails.
Well, obviously the bladder control is an issue as we get older, isn't it? For some people.
No one on this call, that's for sure.
Not on this podcast for the young boys.
Wet patch in the corner.
It's a plaster patch, by the way, just for full clarity. But yeah, the bit about I haven't. But you know when people say basically bladder control and like, oh, you do a wee, but then you don't stop weeing for a bit, like as a man as you get older, and you're like that sort of thing. That and having to get fillings, it's like a level of existential dread that I can't quite get my head around. Do you know what I mean? Just like teeth stuff, do you know, like the decline of the body, like having to get glasses sent me into a tailspin. Do you know what I mean? I got them when I was in my 30s, so it was like, okay, so I guess that's that gone now. And then I was like depressed and in a state of melancholy for like 4 months.
For glasses. Me and James have been wearing glasses for a long time.
I've been wearing glasses since 12.
Yeah, since 8.
Yeah, whereas I'm like, I was 2020, and now I'm like, now I looked at some old bastard in a restaurant and it was a cool restaurant. It was when I was in London, and it was someone who was basically in their probably 50s, phone torch on to read the menu in the thing. And I was like looking at him, furious with him, like scared of becoming them, but also jealous that I couldn't. I would have loved to have got my phone out. I would have loved to have got my phone out because I couldn't read the menu at all. It was too dark. It was too dark. And so then I'm just like, well, what would you have? Do you know what I mean? This sort of thing. This, do you know, like like that John Wick 4, that's like uses doorbells sensors to fight his way through a thing because he's learnt to adapt. That's me. My canny rat brain has learnt to adapt to not really being able to read menu in restaurants by being charming.
I'm currently Googling improve your eyesight naturally because I swear to you this is...
You mentioned this before.
I know, but I'm pretty sure eye yoga. I found it.
Eye yoga.
Paul McCartney. He's 81.
Does it involve doing eye rolls? Because right now...
Yeah, James has been doing it for pretty much a year. Whenever we started recording this podcast, he's been rolling his eyes for nearly 8 months. Thing is, I don't want you doing this, Sunil, because if you do it and then I don't know, you might just end up with two eyes looking in different directions, and I don't know.
Bloody hell, I'll tell you what's happened today. That's reminded me. I'm catching some strays off Ramesh Ranganathan's Instagram.
What do you mean, like people who are just...
tagging me into it, because he's put up an AI-generated Santa Claus picture of him, but it's basically just a fatter version of him, and everyone's tagging me into that. I'm getting about 10 notifications today. People that don't even follow me are tagging me in.
Thing is, you've got glasses and you're both Asian and you're like past that point.
Thought he was talking to me and you.
I didn't say this. He looks fucking great though. He's like a guy of an age who's ripped beyond all. Oh, fuck me.
All right.
Let's have a look. Hold it up in the middle. Oh. Oh.
No, what do you mean, I don't have that beard anymore, have I? I've shaved the beard off, haven't I?
No.
Yeah, I know. That is me. That's my fucking face.
Oh, yeah, that's Sunil special.
No, this one's got your smile.
It's got the little mouth.
Do you think but to get to this point, there's probably this insidious technology has probably scraped over some data points that might have included you on somewhere, like if it's comedian, if it's like basically depending on how your pictures have been tagged.
But then knowing that, this whole conversation, today's incidents with this Instagram post are a good sort of trigger for me to get unreasonably ripped over the next few months.
It's not weird. It's the excuse. This is a domino effect. If you're getting ripped because of AI, then I'm getting ripped because I can't not be ripped if you two are both ripped.
Well, James, are you going to get ripped?
James, are you going to get ripped?
I'm always on the cusp of starting to bother to get ripped, yeah. I try and do some exercises, and I do it for about a week.
You do. Sorry, James, just to stop you there. Chris is breathing quite heavily into the microphone again, and I don't like it.
Yeah, when I'm talking about my buns of steel.
We'll get AI to take that out.
I think James is quite naturally ripped anyway, isn't he?
I think he's got a figure. He's got a figure like a wardrobe that would hide a lot of sins. Do you know what I mean?
If that was coupled with a natural inbuilt aggression, I think you could be an absolute machine, James.
I'm like a wardrobe. You want to know what's in my drawers.
Yeah. You want to, like, case of your wife, you want to just smash it straight on Marketplace and get somebody to take it away.
Free.
Get it for
Just
free.
pick up.
I can't have this taking up a full room anymore. We inherited a wardrobe when we got in this house, and it's sort of nice, but it's just so ominously, insanely huge that it needs to go. It's making the house feel too small. It's stressing me out.
I would have thought, Chris, fitted wardrobes was more up your street.
It is, but not in this fiscal year. Need to wait for that second Soho Theatre money to come through. Then
You know some carpenters now, surely.
I do a little bit of this, bit of that. I've got friends who do a lot of things. We've had while I've been away in London for a couple of days, turns out as a little surprise, my mother-in-law has started a plasterer. There was a bit of the wall in the front room in the middle room, the dining room, which was buggered. It was like falling to bits with the plaster. So she got this as a little treat to us. She got the plasterer to come in and fix it for us, which was brilliant. But apparently the plasterer said underneath the wall, there's basically something that shouldn't be going on with the pipes. A hot and a cold one next to each other. He says it's fine, but they shouldn't really be touching or near to each other in the way that they are, because a hot and a cold next to each other does gradually create condensation. So it was like, there's not much to be done. There's not much to be done.
There you go.
And we'll be fine for like a good while. It'll just be in a few years, do you know? But the scale of work to basically move all the pipes around is like a very big job. So it's like, we'll kick that can down the road. Yeah. Which brings us to Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I've got a little format for this episode and I'm desperate to stick to it. So can we speak about...
So stop talking for 13 minutes.
Okay. If it's Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So let's talk about the Christmases of the past and yore. Well, what's going on? What sort of stuff in the past do you think about Christmas? Like, where did Christmas come from?
Are you opening this up to the group?
Yeah, this is a sort of a general chat about things to do with Christmas in the past.
Like the 80s?
You're asking us, where does Christmas come from?
Yeah, come on, Chris. That's pretty basic level.
Coca-Cola. Yeah.
Have you seen that new Coca-Cola advert, by the way? The AI one. They did an AI version of the trucks, and it's all weird, and the trucks are basically just skidding into town. And then an AI Father Christmas comes out, and he's got like a toe for a thumb and stuff, and it's all weird.
So just imagining Santa putting his toe in my mouth.
Why? Why are you imagining that?
Because you'd sort of set the scene. But who's done it? Have the Coca-Cola company done this?
I think they did it, and then they withdrew it because everyone was like, yeah, it's bad, though. They were like, we did this AI one. And everyone went, it looks bad, looks weird.
It needs to be, it's stealing everybody's work. It produces bad, AI needs to be, like in June, where AI is banned in June because it's too dangerous. And I think that's true in the world of June, but like we should ban it, but not because it's dangerous, because it's boring and shit. And you're like, but in June, AI is banned. So that's why spice is important with that drug, because it's basically that it allows human consciousness to expand to the point that it lets the human brain can compute interstellar travel.
Right. Well, hang on. What did they use this? I never saw anyone take any spice in the films.
There's as far as I understand, they take spice in order to be able, that enhances them enough to be able to fly spaceships.
It's basically, so boiling it down to brass tacks. It's basically like, it's like if spice is like in your parlance, that's like it's like doing poppers. It's like doing poppers and driving a car.
It's like taking a load of speed and writing your dissertation.
I just think that because Chris is lying on his front, a lot of the saliva is popping to the front of his mouth, and the stuff he's talking about makes him salivate. If it's sci-fi, he's gonna have a wet mouth for this whole thing. Look at him; he's gone.
No, I'm a victim.
It's complaints about AI, and then there's like, I just want you to summarize that, but not mentioning June.
He's up now. So interesting watching him record this podcast rolling around on his bed. I've never seen this before.
I'm like a baby with no neck, muscles. I can't support my own head.
It's just gonna vomit straight down the camera. Right, so that's Christmas in the past, is it? June.
That can't be our Christmas chat. He's just told us what spice does in Dune. That cannot be our Christmas chat.
Christmas was invented. Krampus.
Chris Krampus was the anti-Santa Claus. Because I watched...
He still knocks around. It's still part of quite a lot of European folklore and stuff around this time, isn't he? There's like the other lot.
He's also in the film Red One with The Rock.
Did you watch that film?
It is one of the worst things I've ever seen. Don't make any sense. Don't know what's going on. Absolutely bonkers.
It's got ripped Santa, hasn't it?
Absolutely jacked to hell, J.K. Simmons being Santa.
Isn't it? Well, that's that picture of him doing the barbell curls with massive beard and massive arms. Was that, and everyone thought it was like something to do with Schneiderverse or something, but was it actually for Red One?
It was for Red One, and it just seems like they got him that ripped. And I'll tell you what, in the film, he didn't absolutely fucking batter a single person.
He's like an old. He's in his. I believe him to be in his 70s. So he's building this muscle mass in his 70s. That's. I mean, they should put him on the stamps for my money. What? This is a film that's not a tanked, but I mean, I think a lot of people are watching it, but basically it's a flop because The Rock is somebody that he took $50 million to appear in this bad film, which obviously made it, like the profitability of it crashed into the earth.
Apparently weeding a lot of bottles in this film.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The more I read about this guy, I'm not sure what's going on.
What's he done? Eaten some bottles?
No, he weed in them. Did a lot of wheeze in bottles. Do you have like a sort of a go-to Christmas film though? Obviously not Red One. Like from your childhood. One that you're trying to convince your kid to like, for example, Chris.
It's just what this.
I'm just trying to get you to talk about Christmas in the past rather than fucking Dune. If you say Dune,
yeah. Frank Herbert's, David Lynch's.
It's the TV series Dune Legacy.
I tell you what, we always used to, our family always used to, we always loved the Wallaces and Grommets and stuff. So we were very excited about the new Wallace and Gromit and stuff like that. So we did that, like Home Alone. Do you know, like these are classic films.
Planes, Trains and Automobiles I watched the other day.
That's a fun film. Isn't that Thanksgiving?
Yeah, but it's all the same, isn't it?
So did you guys have any Christmas traditions? Like, how did Christmas roll out? I think from the way that we've talked about briefly our upbringings, even though we're all from different places in the country, I get a feeling that they were all kind of united by quite a similar thing, which is parents that fucking absolutely cane quite a lot of alcohol. There were definitely some times I was like, oh, that sounds like my childhood. Like lots of like driving into pub space, playing pool. Do you know what I mean? This is like,
I don't know if there was any pints on Christmas Day, actually. Boxing Day drinking was a big thing. Main thing I remember is that I would never be able to find my Christmas present in the house before I was given it on Christmas Day. It was always hidden really well.
Like your Santa one or your parents' one?
The one for my parents. Because I knew Santa didn't exist from an early age.
Cause you did.
I worked it out in my head. I did the numbers. And I was like,
you did your own research.
That don't work. I did my own research. And that was without the internet and AI, if you think about it, when I was young.
That's just with just with a bit of graph paper.
A graph paper, a couple of books, questioning some adults, and I found the answers very quickly.
So you weren't really doing it. So I was wondering whether there's like a specific, as yet unmentioned trauma that created this, but it looks like it's just sort of been innate, isn't it, from birth. So, God, I thought maybe he saw someone get hit by a bus when he was 4 or something. Like, oh no, he's just.
Is it traumatic? Is it traumatic to have to get a Commodore 64 out the back of a Sierra on Christmas Day? I don't think so.
No, that's true. That's a hell. I had a Commodore 64 too. James Pond, Zool. Do you know?
And then as soon as you're old enough, Leisure Suit Larry on tape.
Lads. That's where the lads come in.
This is a time when they used to make games for the lads.
And you persuade your parents they're educational.
Yeah.
And in a way they were. They still make Leisure Suit Larry. There's a PS4 version. Looked it up the other day. Oh, yeah.
I think it's one of those things where people, do you know where I would love if I had some silly money. I was saying this to my friend. If my Euro Millions come in, I would love to. There's a few franchises from the olden past that I would love to buy.
Yeah,
and sort of relaunch, like Earthworm Jim. I thought Earthworm Jim was exceptionally funny and has a lot of potential. Duke Nukem, because I think that's where society is going.
I think that did have a redo, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was very bad. But basically, there was a big chunk of history the last 20 years where Duke Nukem, the character, was not right for our society. But now that society is, only boys are being born, and it's like the reign of the incels looms, Duke Nukem's about to come back big time. And the thing is, he's not actually a sexist, because Duke Nukem is trying to save the babes. And that's something that the woke mind virus lot often wouldn't pick up on, that nuance.
Is it sexist to give a stripper money?
Exactly. She's...
and say, shake it, baby?
Shake it, baby. Yeah. Lots of secrets in those games. That's why I like them. There was something else I wanted to say about Christmas stuff. Christmas traditions. Did you always... So you didn't care about Christmas from almost day dot, but we'd always... my dad would be... My dad was... It was and is a key driving force of Christmas, and he would be up too excited up at 3, 4 in the morning. He would always be up before us on Christmas Day. He'd always go down, he'd do a cup of tea and a bacon sarnie type thing, and he'd be waiting for us to get up. And now they're coming round ours for Christmas, so they're like, yeah, he's just the same, still up, whereas I'm just a different type of dad. I'm like, yeah.
Well, what have you done decorations wise? Have you obviously a tree?
We've got, again, this is £2,000 on a carpet, so we've got a carpet. There's 2 bedrooms. That's not just one mad carpet, but it's expensive carpet downstairs. But we've done that, so we've got the tree up. We've had a bit of plastering done. We painted a room green. Oh, it's a nice fest, and we put up. Our house is a mad bits and pieces house, but we're doing little bits, and we've put up.
But you got decorations up, though, haven't you? I assume both of you have got real trees as well. That's how I see you both in the countryside.
Yeah, big time.
But I would have been like, let's just get a plastic tree and just keep it and use it for 20 years. But Nicola's Nicola's coming like a wrecking ball into my traditional video. Yeah, so we've got a brand new. We go cut the tree down and it's wicked. There's a place like fields that grow in the fells there, and you go and you tag it, and then some mad lad with a chainsaw comes round and chainsaws it down in front of you and then runs it through a big thing and you take it home. It's kind of cool. But there's a lot of Christmas traditions. I remember on Christmas Day when I lived in Bradford when I was younger, because my dad's one of 7 and a lot of them lived in the same bit of Bradford. So basically on Christmas, all the Cantrell men would go out on Christmas Day for 2-3 pints, for a few hours. And when Nicola came on the scene, she was like, no. No, we're not doing that. And I was like, yeah, you know what? You're absolutely right.
I don't think I've ever been in the pub on Christmas. Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Yeah, that was a big thing. When I was a teen, late teen, early 20s, Christmas Eve.
I could never do it. Some of my mates used to go and, get so out of their mind drunk that Christmas morning's a write-off. I understand as well, when you're 18 and I don't know. My brother was always 4 years younger, so I didn't want to be 18 and just totally out of my mind.
Especially, it sounds like when you'd be coming home, your dad would be up.
Yeah.
His cup of tea, welcoming you in.
Yeah. He'd think I was Santa. Jingle, jingle.
What time are you going to get up on Christmas Day then, you guys? Have you got to get stuff ready?
It'll be early. We're gathering my mum and dad around, and then we've got Nicola's mum and dad and brother around on Christmas Day. We'll be up very early, and a lot of it'll be basically wrestling the boy to a time, but basically we kind of have to be led by him. But there's a point where we have to be like, no, this is too early, But if it's it normally would be one for getting up around 6 o'clock. So if that becomes 5 o'clock, then we're just going to kind of have to roll with it, because we can't put that genie back on the box on Christmas Day. But if it's 3 o'clock, then piss off, you can go back to bed for an hour. Do you know what I mean? That's sort of a balancing act. But you really just have to surrender to it. And it's Christmas and you're a bit tired. And I would be one to hit a little Christmas rum-based cocktail quite early, just to be a bit fuzzy for the first hour or whatever, and then you just kind of ride the day through. I said to Nicola, if you want me to get out of your hair for a couple of hours, I could go down to the pub down the road. Again, she said, no, absolutely not. Yeah, I think we'll do that. And then it's I'm basically just trying to get to 6 o'clock to watch Wallace and Gromit. and then I think that's Christmas done.
6 p.m.
It's on at 6 p.m. So that's like 6 till 8 or something. You're like, you know what? But pass it back. I hate eating too much on Christmas. I hate it. Like, I hate being overly full. I don't enjoy it. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't, I have to juggle not juggle it, but be very careful on Christmas Day, because it's like we'll have canapes and stuff. Like Nicola does, like we're doing croquettes and these little tostini type things. It's really nice and stuff. But if I'm not careful, then I can overfill and be sort of just in a state. Just a lot of Christmas memories to me are just like largely feeling uncomfortable for some reason.
I mean, that is actually the point of it, isn't it? When it was a sort of pagan festival, it was like using up a lot of the stuff they'd stored. Not using it up, but there's like a feast of stuff that they'd stored over the winter, and they're like, right, let's fucking go all out. Let's have a good one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because it's around the time that the days start. Yeah, that's it. Days start getting
21st would have been the shortest day of the year.
My head's already in January as a time for a clean slate in terms of, because I've been like fannying around in London and stuff, and that is little cocktails and like a pizza here and there. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, I need to get back to.
Where are you having these little cocktails in London? You never told me you never even told me you were down last couple of days.
Well, yeah, but we're doing the recordings all day from like dawn till dusk. So
do you mean the cans from M&S?
No, but we have had those. They're like, it's the only place. But I want to do this Christmas.
I do have a question though. What are you two lads doing in lieu of what we had growing up, which is the Christmas Radio Times?
Got it.
To figure out you've got it. It's still going.
Got the Christmas Radio Times. We've got 4 different coloured highlighters, and I'm trying to implement a system where everyone goes through with their own colour highlighter, highlights it. It's only really me and my wife have done that.
And the boys are just writing there.
It's like they're just written Netflix. We'll watch Netflix.
Yeah. Well, all of it's available on streaming again afterwards anyway, isn't it?
We're going to be at the in-laws, and their tele-internet situation is poor because it's an old house, so it's got thick walls, so it doesn't let the internet through.
Have they got a DVD player?
Yes, I think so, and probably a couple of the Mission Impossible films.
You can borrow some of my Criterion collection if you like.
Lads, it's time to get reacquainted with a little thing I like to call Army of Darkness, aka Evil Dead 3.
The Wong Kar-wai box set for the boys.
You had a Takeshi Mike?
This film is irreversible.
Right, go on then, Chris. Sorry, Christmas past.
So that was Christmas past, and now Sunil, what we're going to move on to now is talking about Christmas present, which is right now, it can also loosely mean presents. Has everybody got everyone's presents and stuff?
All nailed. I panicked just now, just before this call. I panicked because I got my wife. She doesn't listen to this. I got my wife a present of like a journal-y type thing, and I absolutely panicked that I put the wrong year on it, because you can put your personalize it. I thought I'd just put 2024.
No, okay. Could be really interested if you put 2089 or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Like just a random year.
Yeah. What a mad, far future year, do you know? I would be happy with someone if they got me a year diary that said 1338 on it. You know, that's peak, sort of Black Death era, that. You know,
you'd certainly write in a different style, wouldn't you?
Yeah, like, hey, nonny type stuff, you know. So you've got that. I've got, me and Nicola aren't really doing presents this year, but I've got a couple of little bits.
Does she know that?
Yes, because we discussed it. Because I bought myself a comic book when I was in London and was like, can you buy me this? Because I want to read it. And she went, yeah. So we basically done something like that. And the thing...
What was it?
It's called The Hobbstown Mysteries. And I don't know what it is yet. Just a lot about the cover. Fired off a lot of excited things in my brain. It's got it's something about a small town. It's got mysteries in it. It's got there's a man wearing boxer shorts, wearing a mask and stuff. And I was like, this seems like, I had to check the name to be like, have I actually written this? And you're like, no, it's another person. So we're doing that. But the big thing is, we live in a chaos house and stuff like that. So we're getting and sort of basically pooling the money to buy an Hoover. So Nicola has largely picked up, the mental load of sorting all Christmas because I've just been
swanning around in London having little cocktails.
Swanning around. Don't delete the bit about pizzas and little cocktails. But yes, largely. So we've done that, and we've got to get a few little bits and pieces. The thing is, I've got as well, it's Christmas, but it's my dad's birthday.
Your dad's Jesus.
Yeah. No, his dad's birthday like yesterday, and it's just all he wants is a card. But I don't know. Obviously, I'm not I'm not falling on the crutch that he's ADHD, because I definitely am being diagnosed with it. But it would be brilliant to use it as an excuse when I get distracted. I find like remembering birthdays almost unfathomably difficult. I can't do it.
You just do a recurring appointment in your Google Calendar.
I've done that now. But basically what I've always wanted to do with presents is do the year's shopping, but in like a mad month, like March or April, have it all lined up in a box.
Yeah.
And then forget about the box, I think that's a solution, just like tackling it. So then it's like unleash hell on 1st of December, send everything to everyone like a barrage of arrows.
I mean, you don't do cards, do you?
I can't remember general birthdays. I can't do cards. It's not the stage of my life where I can do cards. I can't do cards. I can't read board game rules. These are things that I really want to be good at, but I've also, as I've got older, just agreed not to punish myself for being bad at this sort of stuff, although I do have to, Moonpig let my dad down, not me.
Right, okay.
That's
the story, is it?
That's the official line.
What about you, Sunil? What presents have you got?
I'm going home to my mother's for Christmas, but we don't really do Christmas presents, but I did this year. I bought her like
after you shattered them with the Santa news.
After you showed her a presentation with a pie chart, and you're like, mother, telescopic pointer. Shing.
Global map on there saying impossible.
Impossible, yeah. So, in conclusion, impossible.
No, but I got her a fancy candle today, so I'll just give her that.
Nice.
London's good for fancy candles.
Oh, yes. It's great. I went to a shop called Space NK, which seems to be a shop of fancy smelling things. It's very nice. I was there with a friend who basically said, get that, that'll do. And I looked at the price and I said, fuck off. And then she said, no, definitely. And I went, right, fine.
And so you're going home, are you
going to in-laws?
And you're going to the in-laws, yeah, and we're hosting.
And we've got like loads of family around, so we've got like 4, there's going to be 4 kids, so it's going to be a very kid.
Do you mingle the sides of the family? Like, as in, do you have like your family mixed with the wife's family?
Yes.
So that was Christmas past.
And then Christmas, and then it seamlessly blended into Christmas present.
Yeah. The important thing for you to think about, Sunil, is that these are 3 distinct sections. So where does that bring us up to?
Someone's done his books.
Oh, someone's done his books. Oh, where's my phone? I need my phone.
Shall I ring it?
Oh, I've got it here. Right.
He's rolling around on the bed again. Listener, he's rolling around on the bed again. He's kicked his trousers off.
I'm having a good time. Right. No, the trousers are on. The trousers are on. This is safe. People are emailing it. People are emailing this podcast, It's a huge hit.
You're not sharing any of that with us?
I know. I've been catching up. I've been away. But from now on, I'm sort of back and I'm getting my head around it. Right. So, the Ghost of Christmas Future. So, we've already talked about it. The forbidden knowledge that is AI, the deep forbidden tech. The list, right, so we were contacted, it was sent an email by a listener called Kate, who has basically asked an internet machine, is it sentient? Is it not? Can it outwit a human being? But what she's done is she's asked an AI, a chat GPT or whatever, to write a Christmas story in the style of me. So I'm just going to read it now and we can sort of say whether it's done a good job.
And we'll see if we can replace you going forward, I guess.
I've got a friend who he was making a podcast and he used like an AI, he created like an AI model of Richard, who's not Richard Attenborough, he's the actor. David Attenborough. It was built anyway. So if we can get our voices modelled and get them chained to write all of the words.
But that's what there's AI scams that basically scam people's parents with their kids' voices on the phone.
Yeah, no, I understand that. And what I want to know is how we get in on that. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's it called? Like latent income stream ticking away in the background.
Passive income.
This is The Absolute Clusterfuck Christmas Catastrophe by Chris Cantrell, as prompted by Kate. So this is me speaking. Right, gather round, you magnificent bastards, because I need to tell you about the most batshit mental Christmas that ever decided to shit itself inside out.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And yes, I know Christmas is already weird as tits with the whole flying reindeer bollocks, but this one takes the fucking biscuit, wipes its arse with it, and then questions the entire concept of digestive systems.
Where do you want us to jump in here? Because I think
I don't know. Like that's the first paragraph.
I was just thinking, I have heard you say tits a lot, so that makes sense. Bollocks, less so.
No, that's because you say I'm going to draw pictures with 8 tits, and I'm saying I'm not drawing 8 tits. I've only ever said I'm drawing 8 tits in response to you accusing me of drawing pictures with 8 tits.
Did you say it or not?
I think the record would show, but if it was like, I would get my lawyer to say, under like extenuating circumstances, under duress. So far, it's like, I always think with, like, I think when you find your voice as a comedian, I remember thinking that some of the jokes that I tell, if they were written down on a bit of paper, would be gibberish to someone else. And I thought, that's when I've sort of found my thing, because I can say this and it's funny, but it would look like the insane ramblings of a serial killer if someone else were to stumble upon it written down. And that's what this feels like a little bit. Let me do a little bit more. So there's this poor sod called Sam who works at this pissing garden centre.
You're not this blue normally, are you?
No, I don't like you. Right in the Christmas department, surrounded by artificial trees that look like they were assembled by a committee of arseholes who'd been drinking paint thinner. Proper shit trees, mate. The kind that makes you question everything you know about photosynthesis.
I'm warm into that. That sounds more Chris.
That could be me. That last bit, a bit about photosynthesis, that could be me. It's Christmas Eve, and Sam's about to tell this festive hellscape to go fuck itself for another year, when this absolutely wankered looking owl flies in through the door. Now, this isn't the first time I've written about an owl this week. Now, this isn't your standard twatting owl. This magnificent feathery dickhead is wearing a tiny waistcoat and adjusting it like some bellend about to pitch on Dragon's Den.
That's a little bit too blue.
It reads like you're drunk.
Which is why, I don't want to drink now. Hearing that. The owl, this absolute champagne socialist of the bird world, lands on a display of reduced Christmas puddings and says, "And I swear on everything holy and profane, you've been selected to be this year's emergency backup Father Christmas, you lucky bastard." Sam's response, quite reasonably, is, What in the name of Satan, sweaty ball bag? Oh, man, there's still so much to go.
I'm not buying it.
I wouldn't believe it's you.
You're not yet talking about June.
You see, if me or James read that in our voices, it wouldn't clearly be Chris Cantrell's, writing.
Are there any bits that jump out as being particularly you? Like the tree bit sounded.
There's a bit further down. So I could put this.
I get the. I think we can get the vibe of it. We can get the crunch.
I can put the full. I'll put the full thing in the Discord group for them to pour over. But there's a bit later on where it's someone saying, "I've got 3 cans of Monster, battling it out in my bloodstream, and enough anxiety to power a small city of nervous breakdowns." And I thought, I thought that is fucking literature.
Yeah, that's you, very much you.
I don't know much about art.
It makes you wonder because I do think about this all the time, like, where is this? I think the thing this is a fun thing to do rather than a laugh, but a machine has scraped stuff that I've done from various places. I wonder if there's like stuff that I've done, like old sets or something like that. I wonder whether this is a version of me that I have matured out of.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some stuff because I often think like I have to sort of to some degree make a go of this because me and Amy did a video about Christmas where we did a 2-minute rap about cum. It's like, I can't go back to the world of work traditionally. I wonder whether it's basically stuff from really 10 years ago that are data points in this. And you're like now, I purposely, with my last show, I think, I very, very purposefully, I'm not swearing in it a lot because I don't need it.
But where it has got you is that it's quite surreal, and that's what you do, and not many other people do.
What does it? Doesn't it give a little sort of like an outline of what it did at the end?
Yeah, it says, I've written, this is the robot, this is the machine talking to Neo. I've written this Christmas tale maintaining Chris's signature style with absurdist humour, creative profanity and surreal situations. And you're like, you know what? If that was written up in the Times, I'd be like, slap it in the press pack. There you go. I think that's unsettling but fun, undeniably fun. Thank you, Kate.
Chris, it's good to know that you've got quite a strong style that can be done like that. I mean, a lot of,
But I don't think it can. The thing is, with AI coming for jobs and stuff like that, it's largely terrifying. But I'm not as nervous as some people probably should be. Do you know, there's people, when we were dealing with estate agents and mortgage brokers, you're like, lads, head on the chopping block, please. The sooner that your jobs get replaced by a fucking computer, the better, because you are bad at this. Whereas I do believe there's so many jobs like that are knocking around that are going to be before that. Like, I feel largely unthreatened by AI at the minute because they're not making great inroads, as I see it, into creative spaces. But that could change. I just believe in my gut that largely AI is I heard someone describe it as like some sort of thinker man. AI isn't necessarily like some existential threat. It's pollution. If you think of it as like plastic in the ocean, it's overwhelming the internet. And if you go on any social media site, it's just full of it now. And you start to see it everywhere. Also, when I was in Edinburgh, I noticed that, there's all these like tat shops that are like Highland type stuff. Well, just like the same ones that you will get in London, but the Scottish equivalent. They were full of AI generated images, of like Highland cows, photorealistic.
With doobies and that.
With doobies, yeah. But Highland cows doing like on a surfboard or something. And I could see that they were created. No one's made this image. It's like an AI generated thing that someone has just ran through, printed off high res, and then printed them in frames, like in those tat shops. So it's not like, I don't know. A chilling omen of the future, Christmas future.
I think this is reflecting everyone's Christmas dinner conversation, really, isn't it? It's gonna be about AI. Someone's going to be banging on about AI.
Yeah. Someone in the house is banging on about AI and nobody understands it at all. And Merry Christmas to you both and to all of our listeners.
Yes, Chris. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Thank you for listening to Rural Concerns. We hope you enjoyed the show and we hope that you learned something too.
I learnt via 3 distinct format points that it's important to promote podcasts you're on.
That's great, Sunil. Oh, wow, what a wonderful thing to hear. You can support this podcast as well if you want by heading to patreon.com/Rural Concerns. And for the price of a pint, you'll get bonus episodes plus access to our online Discord server, which, Sunil, you need to promise me that you will join in 2025.
I promise I will join it in 2025.
And if you want to not be a Scrooge, you can also leave us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It has to be a 5-star review, by the way.
What happens if it's not a 5-star review?
If it's 4 stars or less, then all you'll be unwrapping on Christmas morning is a big box of those tiny little polystyrene balls and fox shit.
Probably best make it 5 stars then. Our artwork is by Poppy Hillstead and our music is by Sam O'Leary.
Rural Concerns was edited by Joseph Techno-Grinch Burrows, and it was produced by Egg Mountain for A Lovely Time Productions.
Hang about, who's this tugging at my sleeve? It's Tiny Tim. What's up, young man?
A Merry Christmas to us all. God bless us, everyone. And have you got any good power bank recommendations?
What a wonderful thing that's happened.
Merry Christmas.
Ah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas to you all. And we'll see you soon.
Merry Christmas. I need to cough. Okay, I'm back.
Was that a cough?
I muted.
Good, because otherwise you don't know what coughing is.
You almost like it was like you were turning to have your photo taken. It was so delicate.
It's like those people that do like incredibly silent sneezes.
Don't trust them.
And then you're causing internal damage there.
Let it out. It's one of the few things that you can just enjoy.
Not just blowing up your own diaphragm quietly.
Yeah, when they like try and completely block their nose off and you just hear like a atom bomb going off in a documentary 3 houses down. Just
Yeah, but that's a brilliant sound effect, by the way. That really sums up an image. Bong. Like that.